baby. Good to be in green and white.
You don't get no better than this, man. Hey, tune in. We about to put on the show.
Welcome to Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. The Jets and Bills, a couple hours from kickoff at EA. It is football weather here in Orchard Park in the 716. There's Quincy Nunwa walking in to the stadium as the Jets prepare for their Week 14 matchup against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo.
Crisp air, it is cold, but the guys are moving around here pretty good here during pregame warm-ups greens. The thing about Buffalo, Orchard Park specifically, is we're right here on Lake Erie, and a lot of times you'll get that wind really whipping. So far here early this morning, the wind isn't whipping. It's cold, but it's definitely playable. Sam Darnold looks quite comfortable out there warming up right now.
I'm glad you mentioned Sam. One, I hope you didn't jinx the wind, because if it starts getting real windy, we might be in trouble. We have nothing covering our ears. You mentioned Sam Darnold. The big question today, will he or will he not start? Right now, he's behind us warming up for the Jets. Last week, he was inactive. He hasn't played since Week 9 against the Miami Dolphins when he didn't have his best outing. 4 interceptions in South Florida, but he could make his return today.
Yeah, Todd Bowles was keeping things close to the vest this week. He said he'll take it right up to game time, so we'll probably get some kind of indication here momentarily or over the next hour. But all signs are positive regarding Sam Darnold. He practiced full all this week. Remember, last week he was limited throughout the week before the Tennessee Titans game when Josh McCown made that 3rd consecutive start. But Darnold out here warming up, getting that right arm loose. We're going to talk to Vic Carucci about this momentarily, but I wonder if he can have parallel to Josh Allen in terms of Josh Allen missed 4 games with an elbow strain. He has come back the past couple weeks and played very well for the Buffalo Bills. So Sam Darnold now, after he's been able to take a step back and watch McCown orchestrate the offense not only on game day but in practice greens, I wonder if that will be beneficial and helpful for him as he makes a probable return to the lineup.
Last time the Jets saw Darnold in the lineup, he completed 53.8% of his passes, threw for 229 yards against the Dolphins. Of course, 4 interceptions, a career high there. This is a different road test for the Jets compared to last week, because we were in Nashville last weekend. It was sunny. It was 70. This is quite the opposite. This is a much different road test than last week. The Jets had a good effort, couldn't finish late in that game. And let's just talk about the Jets' defense in particular on the road, because last week held the Titans to 1 of 11 on 3rd down. Of course, the 1 3rd down conversion came with 42 seconds remaining when the Titans took that lead.
Well, Greens, I thought it was encouraging that the defense came out last week and ended their takeaway drought. Jermaine Johnson with the pick 6 of Marcus Mariota. That really helped the Jets take control early in that ball game. They had a 16-0 lead. The thing that the guys have talked about this week, they continue to talk about here, the theme has been finishing, and they weren't able to finish against the Titans. Let's see if they have an opportunity to do that today against the Buffalo Bills. But I thought early on in that game, we were both in Nashville watching the game from the press box, I thought the Jets were dictating the terms of the game up front, and that's one thing that didn't happen in the first matchup between the Jets and the Bills in Week 10 at MetLife Stadium. I thought the Bills won the battle in the trenches that game.
The Jets had 156 rushing yards against the Titans last week. Isaiah Crowell had 98 of those. He's questionable with a toe injury today, but I think you have to imagine that the Jets are looking to win that battle up front like you would every week. You mentioned Week 10, 41-10 loss for the Jets at MetLife Stadium against the Bills, and we'll talk about this a little later, but they really lost the battle up front, and that led to the result.
Yeah, the Bills had more than 200 yards rushing, but I was encouraged offensively last week by the Jets getting the run game on track in Tennessee. That rushed for more than 150 yards against the Titans in that ball game. So, and that was with Jonathan Harrison at center, and also at left guard you had.
You keeping an eye out for me?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for you.
That.
At left guard last week was Dakota Dozier, but this week it could be Spencer Long back in the lineup.
Robbie Anderson was right behind us just there. He's also questionable with an ankle injury.
He looks pretty good in pregame warmups.
He was a full participant Wednesday, limited Thursday and Friday. But this is a test of character for the New York Jets this Sunday in a couple hours as receivers continue to warm up behind us here. Thank you. I appreciate that. I see your eyes keep looking.
You're all good.
Well, there's a test of character because in Week 10, the Jets lost 41-10. They're on a 6-game slide, and they're really looking to get a win.
Well, we're talking about road struggles since the beginning of the 2017 season. The Jets have won just 2 games. That was the game in Cleveland last year in the opener against the Detroit Lions. Like you mentioned, a 6-game losing streak where it seems like there's been a different theme each week here during that. But I like the mood in the locker room this week. Jamal Adams, I think, set the tone, and that's the guy you want to set the tone for this team right now. He said it's personal because, listen, Buffalo came into your house and won 41-10. They took a 31-0 lead in that ball game, and this is a team you're going to be battling against Greens annually twice for however long you're in the green and white. So you want to come out there and play better here this afternoon in Orchard Park, and I anticipate the Jets will.
Vic Carucci of the Buffalo News will join us momentarily, but first, EA spoke to Sam. You didn't speak to Sam. You spoke to Chad Pennington about the potential return of Sam Darnold on Jets flight plan.
Well, Eric, one of the things we really get excited about when we talk about Sam Darnold is his ability to make plays in the pocket and his arm talent, and we see the potential. And right here, Sam drops back. You look at his feet here. They're nice and compact. They're under control. He's not in a hurry. And look at the accuracy, being able to hit Robbie Anderson in stride in between 2 Colt defenders to make a big play. This is something that as Jet fans we all get excited about because we see the potential here for the future of the Jets passing game. Another thing that I really like about Sam is not only can he make those 2-dimensional throws, he can make 3-dimensional throws. And in the NFL, this is so important to be able to make because not only do you have to make throws into windows, you've got to be able to make throws into pockets and over defenders. As we watch his footwork, we can see that he stepped up in the pocket. He's got a nice base to be able to release this football. And look at the touch on this ball. You can see the Bronco defender right there. This ball is sitting right here. It's got to get up and back down to the Jet receiver for the completion, which Sam is able to do. This is a big-time throw and catch for both Robbie and for Sam.
Chad, I know both the Jets and the Bills are nowhere near where they want to be, but what excites me about today's matchup is the future of both of these signal callers.
I completely agree with you, Eric, and we talked about the whole rookie draft class as far as the quarterback position was concerned and how everyone's excited about all 4 quarterbacks. We're lucky here in the AFC East to have 2 of the 4 in Josh Allen and Sam Darnold, and I think the future is bright for AFC East competition.
Always a treat to have Chad Pennington in studio, one of the great minds in the NFL, and always great to be joined by Vic Carucci, now on set of Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. Vic, it's a bold move without the gloves.
Hey, you got to be tough here in Western New York. We don't mess around.
And this guy is tough as they come, Greens. Listen, Vic's been covering the Buffalo Bills for a long time. When I was a kid, I used to run to the mailbox to get the paper to read Vic Carucci.
Make me feel old. Thanks, thanks, sir.
You're not old. I'm just saying, iconic, a legend here in Western New York. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, Vic, let's just kick things off with the rookie quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. What have your impressions of Josh Allen been so far this season?
I've been impressed primarily with the way he came back from those 4 games he missed with that elbow injury, showing, I think, greater awareness and ability. I thought he played his best game actually in losing to the Dolphins last week as far as reading defenses. His grasp of the Bills' offense has always been solid, and from what I'm told by the coaches, he's very in tune in meetings, and there's no issues with him sort of like not knowing the playbook or the game plans. He has those in and out. It's been a matter of course, the experience of just seeing and recognizing what he sees across the line. And I talked with Matt Barkley, who was watching, of course, from the sidelines last week, and Matt said his decision-making and what he was seeing was really terrific. And even though he ran 9 times, 1, maybe 2 were design runs, but the others were pressure runs or coverage runs, he showed good timing in terms of when to run, and he's doing a better job of protecting himself.
So we knew about the arm in the pre-draft process. The kid coming out of Wyoming, 6'5", 237, can throw it out of the stadium.
Right.
But has his athleticism even impressed people here within the organization and people covering the team, much like yourself, Vic? with the way he can run the ball.
Absolutely. Look, I watched a lot of tape of this guy from Wyoming. I didn't see a lot of that running. And the other day I asked him about that. I said, okay, look, 99 yards that he had against Jacksonville, which set a quarterback Bills record. Then he breaks his own record with 135 against the Dolphins. And I said to Josh, where did this come from? I didn't see it at Wyoming. He said, look, at Wyoming, we played a more compressed offense. It wasn't one where there were those lanes. He said here in Brian Daboll's scheme, it's more spread. And he said when you've got more spread and the defense is spread out, you see more opportunity to run. The other thing I asked him about was what did he run at the combine? And I also double-checked it, a 4.75. I said, that doesn't really feel like I'm watching you run. You look like you're a lot faster than that. He said, I've been told my game speed is a lot faster than my 40 time.
How about Jets outside linebacker Frankie Louvu here on Pregame Central? He's out here shirtless today.
Bold.
What do you think
That's
about
the bold
that?
move. Yes.
That's Jamal Adams last year in New England at Gillette Stadium. Frankie Louvu played at Washington State, so he's used to some cold weather games.
I spoke to him earlier this week, and I said, what's the weather like back home in America Samoa? And he said, it is beautiful there. But then he said, I went to Washington State, so I'm used to it. And this is next level crazy.
Well, when I will say this, you guys pay attention to the stands. There will be a few of those people out there, although I think they might have some ingredients in them that might be warming them up.
A couple of adult
Just
beverages.
suggesting.
Okay, so how about, do you think Sam Darnold might get a similar bounce from taking a step back, watching a guy like Josh McCown orchestrate the offense at practice and games and see the way he goes through everything? Because Allen seemed to really benefit from that time away.
He benefited greatly, I thought, because number one, of course, he wasn't just standing on the sideline or attending meetings. He was paying attention. He was asking a lot of questions, again, from what I've been told by those in the quarterback room and by coaching staff. So I think it's important sometimes to step away, to get a good look and see things with a wider lens. The other thing that will be interesting today is the pride factor with these two players, right? They're from this quarterback class of 2018. A lot of hype about that. And interestingly, just to make a slight hockey comparison, the other night, Toronto Maple Leafs were in Buffalo, and Austin Matthews was in town going against Jack Eichel, right? And they're two big rivals, and they were having almost like a shootout between each other. Who could one up this? Toronto ultimately wins the game in overtime with Austin Matthews scoring the goal.
But Eichel scored a couple.
But Eichel scored a couple because he's trying to answer that challenge. I just wonder, I know it's a different sport and a different opportunity, but I just wonder if the two of them are out here today, how much of that factor will come into play where one guy's going to want to outdo the other.
Healthy amount of respect for each other, no doubt about that. They work with Jordan Palmer in the pre-draft process, so those guys live together. They're out there on the field exchanging greetings right now here at Ralph Wilson Stadium, or New Era Field, I should say.
New Era Field, yep.
But Vic, you're dating yourself,
yeah. Okay. But hey, listen, it's changed. The name has changed a couple times. But Vic, Darnold.
Yeah.
What did the Bills think about him during the pre-draft process? Because he seems like a McDermott kind of guy himself.
He does. My understanding was they were always dialed in to Allen.
Okay.
They loved the big arm. They weren't bothered by the accuracy questions, which of course lingered and were still brought up here because he seems in some cases to still be bothered by that. The book on Darnold, as many others, had a more finished product, right? A more, complete guy coming out of the college ranks and the program at USC to be ready for the NFL. And Wyoming, of course, being Wyoming, it's not that level of competition. But my understanding was, as far as what Buffalo did, they were very satisfied to be able to making the two moves that they made to move up to 7 to get their guy.
I want to talk about Josh Allen's receiving core because Kelvin Benjamin no longer with the team, Andre Holmes no longer with the team. Now a bunch of very fast guys like Isaiah McKenzie, who's questionable, and Robert Foster. I mean, he came in.
Can I just jump in here real quickly? Sam Darnold is starting for the New York Jets this afternoon, so the suspense is over. We know it's happening. We're saying it officially, Vic. Okay. Darnold will get the start here today, his 10th of the 2018 season.
I'm glad. I think it gives this game just another dimension. But go ahead. Yeah,
I just want to talk about the receivers because these guys are much different cast than what the Jets saw in Week 10, even though it's only 4 weeks apart.
Sure.
And Robert Foster has 200 plus yards on 8 receptions. He's averaging 32 yards a catch,
Yep.
Vic.
Yes. So you've seen really a transformation from the standpoint of speed, injection of speed, and Foster's been a part of that. Isaiah McKenzie, a part of that. He was questionable for this game. And then you saw with Kelvin Benjamin, a player who actually just faded right off the roster. I thought he struggled. I didn't think he was all that impressive in the 6 games last year. Came pretty much with the issues that he had in Carolina. Couldn't stay healthy, wasn't in the best of shape, and I just didn't think he was very engaged, and there was no chemistry connection between Josh Allen and Kelvin Benjamin. Josh Allen has a lot of chemistry with Zay Jones. You saw that with the 2 touchdown catches Jones had against Miami, and he actually had some other big plays. And Foster, the big speed and play that you saw in the previous game, November 11th against the Jets, and he, as an undrafted free agent, I think feels he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove a lot.
What do you think about that matchup today with the Jets secondary? And from your perspective, watching Jamal Adams in the second season, have you been encouraged by what you're seeing out there?
Well, I'm a fan of Jamal Adams. I mean, I think he's a heck of a player, a heck of a talent. I believe the safety position so vital to building in terms of your defense. I'm sort of that, and it's Sean McDermott's attitude, philosophy as well, back to front building. However, I will say, the real key to that game, as well as Matt Barkley played and as big a player 2 or 3 the Bills had in their passing game, the key was the running.
Yep.
The key was LaShawn McCoy having his only 100-yard game of the season, 113 yards. So that'll be the thing to watch today. If the Jets are still struggling to stop the run, then it will be a long day, I think, for the Jets defense.
Vic, awesome as always. I just wanted to ask you this. What is Darnold going to be facing when he looks at Hyde and Poyer? That's one of the better safety combinations in the National Football League. A lot of people say those guys disguise as well or is better than anybody.
Look for Leslie Frazier to come after Sam Darnold with a lot of variations, and look for Jordan Poyer to do some blitzing. I think they will they will try to shake him up with as much as possible, because they know he's a guy who's going to do most of his work from the pocket. He isn't going to do the Josh Allen running thing, I would think, anywhere near as much, but they will definitely try to pressure him into mistakes.
And of course, don't forget Tre'Davious White, the Bills' 2017 first-round pick, former teammate with Jamal Adams at LSU. Vic, thank you so much for coming on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi.
Great
Go get
seeing
some
you.
gloves.
Okay.
Go get some gloves. And now it is time for our Pepsi fan of the game. As always, each week we have a fan. This week's fan, drum roll please, Brrr. William in Poughkeepsie. That is our Pepsi fan of the game. Each week we'll be highlighting different fans. So download the official New York Jets mobile app and watch the show for a chance for our next Pepsi fan of the game.
Greens, I want to give you a hug, man. Your eyes, you're watery.
I'm just happy to be here, yay. Happy to be in your hometown.
It is emotional for all of us, isn't it? And
I
we're
didn't think
displaying
I
that
didn't
in
think I was
different ways.
crying.
Yeah.
But all right, so that was Vic Carucci of the Buffalo News. Always great to have him
He breaks
on the
it
show.
down. Great man, and he breaks it down like no other. So it's always fun.
Let's
to
just
have him on the
let's
show.
just reiterate this. Sam Darnold is starting,
Yes.
and we briefly talked about it because we heard the news in the middle of the segment. But Sam is starting. So before we get into fearless predictions here on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi, what are you expecting out of Darnold after missing 3 games, coming off a poor performance in Miami, coming back and starting for the New York Jets in cold
Well,
weather?
I'm wondering if he's got the wetsuit on today.
He has to have something.
I'd be wearing a wetsuit. I mean, because obviously took care of him at practice on Wednesday, but you just want him to be decisive with his reads, with his progressions, and let it rip. Come out here with the energy, which he's going to have. You know, this guy is such a competitor, Greens. It's really bothering him that he wasn't on the field the last couple of weeks, but he had that opportunity to take a step back, review some of the things that he did, watch Josh McCown. Now today, you just want him to have that solid feet underneath him. So when he goes through the reads, don't come back and think the same guy is there. When you're going through the progressions, there's a 1, 2, and just let it go, man. Let it go. And also use your feet, Greens, because he doesn't have to be Josh Allen out here, but he is a good athlete in his own right, and he can make plays inside and outside the pocket, very accurate on the move. So when they're giving you some space sometimes, use your feet to make it happen.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because Sam is a very good athlete. And we saw in the preseason he used his feet a decent amount. I'm looking for Sam to be a little more comfortable back there. Really, diagnosing what's going on the other side of the ball with the Bills defense. And this is a great Bills defense. From weeks 9 to 13, the Bills have held opposing quarterbacks to 53% completion, 135 yards, 1.25 touchdowns,
Number
number one passing defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
But right now it is time for our fearless predictions as the national anthem is being rehearsed here in Orchard Park. So EA, give it to us. What is EA's fearless prediction for Week 14?
I think the Jets will get their pass rush going today. I see him getting 3 sacks of Josh Allen, and Jordan Jenkins comes up with 1. Jordan Jenkins has 6 sacks. He leads the Jets in that category. He leads the Jets in terms of quarterback hits. He's got an outside shot at double-digit sack season. He'd have to really finish with the flourish, but I think there will be opportunities to get after Allen maybe with some blitz looks. The other thing is, before I ask you, your fearless prediction is, it's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do going forward over the last 4 games without Darren Lee, suspended by the National Football League on Friday. So next to Avery Williamson, who's going to start? Is it going to be a guy like Neville Hewitt, or could it be Kevin Pierre-Louis, who had the block punt last week?
These are all great questions. And I will say that I did like your fearless prediction a little more than last week's in Nashville. And before I give mine...
Well, hold on. I just want to say last week in Nashville, I said there will be a turnover, and there sure was.
I also said there was going to be a fearless prediction on Pregame Central. I said there were going to be 2 turnovers by the Jets secondary, one of which will be by Trumaine Johnson, and that came true. So I'm going on the offensive side of the ball today.
Okay, go for it.
Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns, number 1 Bills passing defense in the NFL. We're going fearless here on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. Not 1, not 2, but 3 passing touchdowns in the return of Sam Darnold. Week 14. Put it in the books.
We all can hear. It's cold, but our ears are working still. Yes, it was some kind of fearless prediction. But listen, I'm excited. Josh Allen, Jets are going to be defended against him probably for 5, 10, 12 years. Who knows? That's probably the future of the Buffalo Bills franchise. And for the future of the New York Jets, we get an opportunity to watch Sam Darnold finish off his rookie season. The Jets in all whites today. There's your uniform update as Jason Myers just trucked by us. 28-30 on the season, Myers.
Jason Myers needs 7 field goals to set a franchise record this season. But in a couple hours, Chapter 1 of the future of the AFC East, Sam Darnold and Josh Allen will be going toe-to-toe in a couple hours. That's all we have here on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. Jets and Bills at 1 o'clock for all.
Go over to CBS, Jets Flight Plan.
All right, go to Jets
11:30.
Flight Plan, 11:30 for all your in-game and post-game coverage. Be sure to check out NewYorkJets.com.